So this is a method I tend to use when I have dogs. I know. Shh. We'll get to it. This is a method that I use to teach a dogs uh, down that are not super willing to do down. Um, there's kind of like option one and two of this. So what I'll do is I'll use oppositional reflex to my advantage, as we technically would with a lot of cases. If you know what oppositional reflex is, just a quick summary of that is, in plain terms, wherever force is pulling or pushing the dog one way, they feel biologically inclined to go the opposite way. Oppositional reflex. So it seems like they're being actually oppositional with you, but really it's just a reflex of theirs. So they're not trying to be an a-hole, it's just their body's telling them to be that. So what happens is when you're trying to teach a dog down, and for whatever reason, you might be using pressure because, again, maybe you've tried doing a lure and the dog isn't just super motivated to get into the down with the lure. So then we'll start to use a little bit of pressure to work that behavior in. And then now, if their oppositional reflex is telling them no, because you're pulling downwards and now their body's going upwards and saying, no, we're not going downwards, then you're just in this tug and pull, tug and pull, tug and pull. So here's the two options with this method of a harness and a back tie. Is that with a harness and back tie, is that there's going to be some oppositional reflex, or sorry, there's going to be some pressure coming from the back end, right? So the further out I bring the dog, see that pressure on the back tie? That's that pressure, right? That's there from the back end over there. So the dog is being technically pulled that way as the dog comes forward, okay? So option one, if the dog figures and they want to get into that position, is you could just do it this way with just pressure on the back tie with a harness. Panda. So I haven't taught her the word down yet. Good. So her for a down, if I had a leash in front of her with pressure around her collar, pulling her downwards, she was reluctant to do that. So this is option one, okay? Now, for whatever reason, if the dog is still like, I'm not doing that, even on just a back tie, then you can add equal force going the opposite way, forcing them to do a down. And that's by applying pressure here to the collar here and pulling forward with pressure. So now that there's pressure going backwards and forward, the only means of oppositional reflex and the laws of physics says the only way I can go is down. I can't go up, I can't go back, I can't go forward. I can't get out of a down situation that way. The only way to get out of this pressure, both ends, is to go downwards. Good girl. Okay, so I'm going to do this for a couple reps, and then I'll show you the other method with the another line and pressure going back this way. Now, why you do want to still at sometimes exercise option two. So option two is the back tie with a leash, some form of collar with pressure to create pressure, is because you want the dog to also learn how to do these positions with pressure. Obviously, when oppositional reflex occurs, there's some form of pressure occurring, and so we want the dog to follow and lean into and submit to pressure. So if we can work pressure in there in their training, it's going to help us with many other behaviors that we're trying to develop, as well as other tools that we might use, such as like an e-collar. Okay, so now we're going to start to use pressure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the command, and I'm going to do the pressure at the same time. But I do have to keep in mind that she must get to the end of that collar or that leash back there for there to be pressure back there, for me to put pressure as well here. There has to be pressure at the same time. Okay? Down. Good girl. Free. And then as soon as they do the behavior, I want to get them out of pressure as soon as possible, including both pressures from back and front. Good girl. Again, with her, she had huge, major problems with going into a down with pressure on the leash. And so, again, this is just one of those systems I use to help work downs. Come. Down. Yeah, good girl. Good girl, Free. Good girl. Good job. Place. Good girl. Good job. Free. Good girl. Bring her closer. Down. Good girl. Good girl. Free. Good. Down. Good. All right. So again, pressure back. Try it first option. If option 1 doesn't work for you and the dog is just kind of like doesn't know what to do about the down or just reluctant to going down, then you escalate to option 2. Good girl. Now you just want to give me downs? Then you escalate to option 2. And then that way we kind of deactivate oppositional reflex options for them. And the only way they can remove that pressure is by going down. Good girl. A lot of value in the down now, isn't there, Monument? Huh? Good girl. Good baby girl. I'll pay you all day long, girl.